Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Monday, October 12th, 2020. The fire potential impacts for the next few days are shown here. For today and tomorrow, we're really just looking at continued showery activity across mainly the mountains of central Idaho and western Wyoming, with some cooler, more seasonal temperatures in place across the region. By Wednesday, we will see winds pick up over mainly central and eastern Utah. And the conditions have been dry there with no precipitation recently, and so we're kind of highlighting this as maybe an increase in some fire potential. Smoke for today has generally cleared out behind the cold front that moved through over the last couple of days, so looking for some generally sunny, clear skies at the surface for today and for this morning and this afternoon. And at the upper levels, same story, pretty clear area-wide. The smoke in California is staying out of the basin for now. 24-hour precipitation is shown here. It's kind of hard to see the shading in here, but the greens are between 1/10 to 1/2 inch, and the yellows are over 1/2 inch to maybe 1 inch. So pretty good amounts over western Idaho and the higher elevations of Utah and up into eastern Idaho and western Wyoming. No lightning with these storms. Great Basin fire activity has moderated with the wetter, cooler weather moving in, but still some dryness across the south, which could keep some initial attack in play. Observed precip for the past 7 days on the left and the percent of average for the past 30 days on the right. Here looking at, this doesn't include the precipitation from yesterday, so we will have more show up on the map across Utah here and northern Nevada. But still very dry over central and southern Utah and central and southern Nevada and western Nevada as well. ERCs have come down quite a bit with the cool wet weather, especially across the north. Still some higher values over central and southern Utah where they didn't receive any precipitation, and the cooler weather is still kind of moving down there. Not as dramatic a drop, however, as across the north. ERCs have come down here, south central Idaho. A pretty big drop over the last couple of days, almost back down to normal for the time of year. And same thing over the northern Utah mountains. We were setting some pretty good records a few days ago, but those have dropped back down to right near the record territory. And we'll see if those come down just a little bit more over the next couple of days. This morning's satellite imagery is showing that low that moved across the northern Rockies and the Great Basin kind of moving off to the north and east, leaving us in westerly to slightly northwesterly flow. So cooler temperatures still in place across the north. And cooler certainly across the south than we were just a few days ago, but still sunny and more seasonal temperatures in the 60s. So for today, continuing to see just a little bit of showery activity across the central Idaho mountains and the higher elevations of western Wyoming, with drier conditions across Utah and Nevada. So some elevated winds over eastern Idaho and western Wyoming, just associated with that low as it lifts north and east. Because the temperature's down, relative humidity's up, we're not really concerned about this wind for fire weather. And some lingering precipitation there across the north for today. On Tuesday, under that zonal flow, we actually see a little bit more moisture continue to move into the north for continuing shower activity, mainly over the higher elevations there. So it's going to stay relatively cool across the north with warmer, drier conditions across Utah and Nevada. So still seeing some gustier winds from the west up north and continued pretty good amounts of precip. These pinks in here are going from, let's see, 1/10 to maybe 1/4 inch in here. And some of these darker pinks into the purples are more like 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch. So pretty good precip chance at totals for the central Idaho mountains and western Wyoming. I think we can call this precip event and what we had over the weekend a season ender for the higher elevations of Idaho and Wyoming. On Wednesday, we'll finally see some drier air move into the north and continue to see drier conditions across the basin as there's a ridge off the California coast. We will see winds pick up on Wednesday as the northerly flow increases around that ridge. So especially in eastern Utah where conditions have been drier, we'll see those winds pick up on the lee side of those ranges behind that northwesterly flow. So it's not going to be a super hot wind, but definitely because conditions have been dry there, we will see the wind pick up there. So something to look for. And the maximum temperature shown here on the right, still very cool across the north. Pretty warm across the south, still in the 90s in Vegas, and near 80 in southeast Utah, where we'll see some of those winds pick up. 3-day precipitation totals show some pretty good amounts possible over the central Idaho mountains and western Wyoming, dry elsewhere. As we move into the latter half of the work week, that ridge kind of remains the dominant feature off the coast, bringing generally light northwesterly flow to much of the Great Basin, keeping temperatures in the seasonal range and dry. More of that into Friday and on Saturday. So we're just on the west side of any of that moisture coming down into the northern Rockies, keeping us generally dry. Maybe a chance for some little precip here or there over the central and eastern Idaho mountains, but pretty much dry elsewhere. And that story continues into Sunday. The 7-day totals here just reflecting what we're expecting for today and tomorrow, mainly over the central Idaho mountains and western Wyoming. And the extended forecast from the Climate Prediction Center going into the third week of October, so the 19th through the 25th, calling for above normal temperatures over California and the southwest and kind of clipping southern Nevada and southern Utah. Cooler temperatures over the northern Rockies, though, so that'll bleed into Idaho and northern Utah. But continue to see below normal chances for precipitation, especially over western Nevada. This concludes today's fire potential briefing. Please check back tomorrow for the latest updates.